guys, welcome back to Swero TV. I'm Lord Dakpata, your usual host with the most. With Lame.
I'm back again.
She's right here again. Lame will be with us for a couple of episodes. She'll be our resident guest. We'll be just, doing this together as well as podcasting together. I think it really helps in just having a different view of personal finances and have a discussion over it. Then you can be a lot more relatable as well. All right, so today's topic,
Interesting one it
is. Money blueprint. What is your money blueprint? It's actually a topic because, the reason why I'm bringing it up, I'm actually referencing it from Harv Eker from the Millionaire Mind book. He's the one actually that came up with this money blueprint thing that we're going to discuss today. It's basically, about why you spend them, why do you use your money the way that you use it? It's your money blueprint. And what is that? What is your money blueprint? That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. What is your relationship with money and why do you have it? Like, why are you this person?
Yeah.
Like, why
are you doing the things the way you... Hello, you are very good with your money. Why?
Yeah, where does that come from?
Where does this come from? Why are you so... If you're stingy with money, they call you the Jew at home. Why? Or maybe you're just misusing money. There's a reason why. We're going to discuss that today. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, what do you think money blueprint is? What's your view of it?
I think, look, I always say, there's this saying that if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it in a book.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, this has been written, widely about. He was one of the first people to write about it. And people have dissected it over the years to say, this is what blueprint is. And for me, and I'll relate to you a video that I watched a couple of years ago where, and this is what blueprint is in essence. And this was a high school coach in America. He put, students in a line in a field and said, and gave them situations which they had nothing to do with their lives. It's got nothing to, it's not what you've done, but it's a situation that you're in. And one of the first questions was, if your parents are still married, take one step forward.
I remember that video.
Where it's like,
widely shared.
Yes, if you've never had to worry about going to bed hungry, take another step forward. If you went to private school, take a step forward.
That's your money blueprint.
That's your money blueprint. And that in itself, I think, really explains. And you found that there were people which every question that was coming were moving, and there were those children who never moved.
Yep.
And that in itself is, in essence, your money blueprint.
That's it.
It is literally the experiences in your life about money that you've gone through that shape your relationship with money in the future.
Yeah.
When now you've got money and you've got to use it.
That's it.
It's inherent. It's got nothing to do with what you've done and anything to do with what, what's happened. It's all about the environment that you grew up in or the environment that you were exposed to in terms of money.
Absolutely.
And
that is it.
In simple terms, that's what it is.
That's actually explained it so well. And I like the example that you actually gave.
Yeah.
Go to what you just need to reflect on is that what did you hear about money? What did you see how money was used, and what did you experience?
Yeah.
When that's actually what Harv Eker actually also it stresses on how were you feeling when money was used like that?
And what was the feeling in the home? Was it when money was around? Was it a happy time when there was no money?
That was
was the mood changing?
Yeah.
That's the sort of things that that your blueprint stems from. And people always say, how can it be like this? Like we're saying, it's not something that you would have had control over. It's inherent.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's important, very imperative to know it.
Yeah.
So once you recognize it, then you understand it to why you are.
It's another self-actualization thing that we keep referring back to say you need to know who you are. And who you are has a real impact on how you use money.
Yeah.
And what lane you're in and what your priorities are gonna be with with your blueprint.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then, let's give examples.
Yeah.
Let's give examples of a money blueprint that has affected. How do you think? Give us examples of yourself, for instance.
So for me, money's never really been like an issue.
Yeah.
Right? And that's been my life.
Yeah.
But
how was it used?
Money, I think, look, I come from a home with mom and dad. So there was always planning. I think, we went to private school, so we knew that dad was sorting out private. But I come from two strong-headed people. Dad's very successful, mom's successful in her own right.
Yeah.
So as a girl child growing up, for me, it wasn't a woman staying at home and looking after the kids, because mom's a professor. She's career-driven.
Yeah.
So she was pushing her career.
Agenda too.
And dad was pushing her agenda. So you almost are there like... And I remember saying this to my uncle at the time. I want to, because you'd be in the plane and the air hostess looked so nice when we went to England. I'm like, I want to be an air hostess. And my uncle was like, not let me. No, that was his reaction.
Yeah.
Are you insane? You know, my sister spent money. I was going to go to the and then plane. You know, and he was very upset about it. And I was like, but this is what I like. I like travel and tourism. And that's what I wanted to do. And he was just like, no. I remember he filled out my university application form out for me. He's like, you'll do law, you'll do... you'll do law, you'll do this, you'll do that. And I did first year law, and I didn't like it. So then I changed to business management and finance. But it shows you that, you know, for me, it was always almost a set path. To say this is what you want to do, and if you try to veer off a little bit, you're almost brought back into the path, you know, where you are. But then when I look at my blueprint now, is, you know, as a human, I'm like, okay, they've always had all these things, but what do I want? And I'm like I said, look, in as much as I grew up having certain things, I'm a cheapskate, and I don't know where that comes from. I'm the Jew at home. I don't want to spend money. Because
why?
And
that's your blueprint.
And that's my blueprint, because I almost feel that that I need to save more. So for me, I don't really spend on nice things. I'd rather save up and go for... I live for experiences. So my blueprint is I'd rather drive mom's old car and live in one of my parents' houses, do it up, rather than buy a nice car, buy a nice house, live in a better address, and I'd rather use that money to travel. Yeah. And that's my blueprint. That's how, you know, mine is panning out to be. Yeah. That I'd rather show my kids the world, show them the experiences, have every December. And I think that also comes from my parents, because every Christmas we went on holiday. Yeah. So that's your that might be where that came from. That's to say, for me, and out of how I grew up, where I want to be, is that my greatest or fondest memories of maybe how we spent money was the holidays. Yeah. So, so basically, did your mom, was she also a cheapskate? Was she like, nope, we're not spending on this, we're not spending on that? I think maybe. I think they were both. Get the cheaper. I think they were both like that. Look, I think prioritizing expenses. I think it was very prioritized to expenses. I think my parents are very. They're both Leos, so they're very. Yeah. They almost put things in a box, and these are the things that are going to be done, and they're done that way. So you know, when now you've got your own home. You almost reference back to how they were doing things. That's your blueprint. But that's another episode of Love, Money and Marriage. That's true. Because it then becomes your blueprint is like this, and you marry someone with a different blueprint. How then do you put it together to make it work? That's another episode. That's another episode. But it becomes very, I don't know how to put it to you, but it becomes very difficult to try and have your own blueprint when you're trying to influence your children to have a certain blueprint, and yet you have an influence of a different blueprint. It's not easy. So, definitely. My path is what I want it to be, but it's not necessarily what it's going to be, because there's other people involved. Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a very good point that you're actually making about how, you know, even when you grow up, even if you try to disassociate yourself from that, you're coming with your own blueprint, but guess what? Your partner also comes with a different blueprint. But now, the reason why I wanted us to give an example of that is that, you know, I want to give an example with myself. Yeah. For instance, my mom was very tight with money. Like, guys, my mom was not about spending money, okay? You know, we would eat, like, some days would just be vegetables only. We would not eat meat on certain days. Yeah. For us, for some of us, where we are from, you know, with the blood that we have, which is like the Barolong, you know, I think other Barolong can relate to this, is that, you know, meat can be eaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I mean? Where we're from. But I'm just saying, but my mom, it was eating meat every day is a waste of money. What if that's even with health? She didn't like too much meat and all that, but
for me, that was not a good experience for me. You see what I mean? For me, that was not a good experience for me. You know?
It's not okay. But from a practical point of view, with your mom, eating meat every day is not healthy.
I know, but
I know. I'm just saying.
Yes, I know it's not healthy. But with my mom, it
Yeah.
wasn't only the health part; it was also the budget part. It's a waste of money. You know what I mean? So then, what do I do? Because I want to show you what Money Blueprint does.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Money Blueprint of reducing costs in the home.
Yeah.
And then you get to manage those things. For me, that was not a good experience. Then what do I do when I grow up?
Yeah.
You're either going to rebel against it or you're going to do
Oh, God, yes.
exactly
Yes.
what you've experienced when you're young. There's some kids where maybe when they didn't, you know,
And there's that.
And then there was no money.
They literally are, and you've heard the phrase.
Yeah. Now
So,
I spoil
but my mom was weird because she wouldn't let us have fizzy drinks. So one of my rebellions as an adult is that I buy myself cream soda because I was not allowed to have that. And then you're right. You know, it's an example of a blueprint, but using almost things that you're allowed to have.
Yeah.
As saying now that I have the money to buy
I'm
these,
gonna do me.
I am.
Yeah. So what the point I'm trying to get to is that it's important for you to recognize what your money blueprint is and why you're behaving that. So you're either going to do exactly the way that you've been raised. So think about how you've been raised. Think about how they were using money. What did you hear about money? Like you were saying, you know, what's the money hidden and all that stuff. So it's very, very important for you to know why am I behaving this way towards money. And you'll find out that if money was very tight when you were young, now you're probably overspending and saying, no, I'm not going to let my children suffer. You know, and the other part was money tight and you were suffering. Or you were suffering. You know what I mean? Was it really suffering? That's the thing. But it's important for you to first understand why I'm behaving this way. Why am I buying my children fizzy drinks every day?
Yeah.
Why am I allowing TV in every room?
Yes.
Why is misuse of money? And then you're able to say to yourself, you know what? I don't want that life anymore. I don't want to associate with that poverty life. I know you felt it was poverty.
But I think
you know?
one thing that we must, you must also refer to when we talk about blueprint is that not all of us start at the same footing.
Yeah.
Like the example that I was given. You know, there's people who come from a situation which is not desirable. And the first thing that they do, and this is a lot of us, they call it black tax. Which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Where they then ensure that before they can have, they make sure, and it's a tradition, it's a culture thing.
Yeah.
You need to see where you come from. So you need to almost make sure that your parents are comfortable. Your brothers and siblings are comfortable before you get comfortable. So that also almost contributes or shifts your blueprint because it's now no longer about you and looking at your priorities. You've got to look at your extended family. And then that also now has an impact on how you're
managing your because you're taking care of what was not taken care of by who was supposed to take care of it.
Yes.
Now you have to do it.
Yeah, but then that also, I think, is important in that, that is a cultural thing and that's an important thing.
Yeah.
Now, what's happening with society at the moment is that there's Instagram, there's Facebook, and there's all these, the perceived audience.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and I'll speak about women because I'm a woman. A lot of women, we're in cliques, you got the girls. And all the girls are driving the nice cars.
Yeah.
They live at the addresses. And they, and you almost, even though that's not your blueprint, you're going to alter it to fit in. And that's an important thing that people need to really start having conversations with self. And 2020 is a great year to do it because we've had time.
It's been a very good year to reflect.
We've had time to think about what it is that you're doing, how you could do it better, and how to navigate your way to who Lame is and what Lame wants to do.
So now we're talking about disassociating yourself, disassociation of yourself from the blueprint that you've always known.
Yes.
Yeah, this is why you're behaving this way towards money now. Who is Lame?
Yeah. And
how do you separate yourself?
Yes, and the point I'm trying to get to, I think, is in as much as you're trying to path your own blueprint, don't let it be veered out by what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Try and have the conversation with, okay, Larato, okay.
Yeah.
This is what is important.
Yeah.
And, for you, I was laughing. Remember we were talking about the other day and I was saying, one of my aunts friends was saying, oh, you only bought a nice car now.
Yeah.
Why are you buying a nice car now? She was like,
Yeah.
no, I was paying school fees. Like, all our kids went to school. Now we've been driving.
Our nice
You know what I mean? Our nice
Yeah,
cars.
the
And it's about priorities.
yeah.
Where, on your blueprint, you need to work out what the priorities are. Is it all about maybe rebelling from how you were living? Because there's some people who come from money and decide to go live in Sierra Leone in a hut underneath and try to see how it works out.
Rebelling.
Yes.
That's the
because you're
rebellious
like,
stance. I can't, and sometimes you actually find yourself, even when you're coming from a very wealthy background, you actually end up misusing money.
Oh God, they don't have a value for money because 100 pula to you is always there.
It's always there.
And then another person, that 100 pula lasts 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they make it count.
Yeah.
Why not? You're almost just.
Yeah, because you actually thought that money was always there, or maybe you do come from wealthy parents and who were actually trying to show you how to use money very well. And then when you grow up, you're like, I'm not doing that nonsense. I'm going to get myself my merc. I'm going, you know what I mean? They were actually teaching you.
But you know what's funny?
The basics
you know what's funny? And I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
Those kids that come from money really become successful. It's rare.
Yeah.
If you look now, society-wise where we are, the children that struggled are the ones that are fighting to almost...
They're fighting against what they have been.
You know, successful.
They're being rebellious, which is a good thing.
Yes, it's a brilliant thing. Now, the thing that maybe our parents are getting wrong is that those that come from having...
privilege.
Those that have the privilege... get disillusioned that the money is always going to be there.
So
it's now about teaching them that there's, leave some for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Leave some for tomorrow. And the fact that they need to build.
Yeah.
They found that some children are starting from digging up that hole to build a house. You found the houses, maintain them, build them, fix them up and let the legacy move on.
Yeah.
It's all about, I think, those parents trying to build a legacy and the kids getting lost somewhere in the way where they're not, they're not gripping, they're not nittling in and actually doing the work that needs to be done in order to
themselves.
get... Yes.
For themselves, because you're not going to be here forever.
It's a disillusion of a money blueprint where you assume that it's always going to be there. Look... there's the other people who that is what it is. We call them trust fund babies. These people are sorted for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The grandkids and the other grandkids and the baby's grandkids are sorted. But there are those who are sorted for that generation. And that means that generation needs to work in order for the next two generations
but even
have
if you're a trust fund baby and then you're sorted.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's super important as well.
Yes.
We are gonna have an episode about children, and how to manage that. We have to also make sure that they have the principles of life, life skills.
And the principles of what money is.
And life skills includes how money is earned. Then they get to manage it better, so that the legacy comes. Your grandkids, also benefit from the legacy. So basically today I really wanted us to go into this, guys, because it's very, very important that we actually discuss the money blueprint. Why are you using money the way that you're using it? Reflect on how you grew up with being raised, how you've been raised with money. How was money being used?
And what does it mean to you?
What does it
mean
to you?
And I want to go back to the topic that and it's a very controversial one where men, and it's a gender thing, where men feel basadi ba batla madi, and there's a gender thing, the perception where women want money from men, and the relationship between a man and a woman is all solely about money. That women target the men with money, and that I think also needs to be looked at from both spectrums to say, as a man, what's your relationship with money? How do you see money and how do you see women? How does a woman see money and see herself?
So it could also be a blueprint thing.
It's a blueprint thing where if you are a girl child and you were raised to work hard for yourself and never to look at anybody else to bring in money, you're not going to be the sort of person who looks for a relationship with money.
Yeah.
You're looking for other things in that relationship.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as a girl or as a woman where you need to be like, why am I with this person?
Yeah.
What's my blueprint? It now, also goes to other elements of your life to say, this blueprint is that important because it's going to determine the relationship I have with my future partner, my current partner now,
and my kids.
And my kids. Because you're teaching your girl child that, look, you can do this by yourself. You don't need a man to look after you.
Yeah.
And that's very important in today's
the generational blueprint is very important. So it's super important, guys, that you understand your blueprint. Why are you behaving the way that we're talking about disassociating yourself from it now? Because whether it was a good experience, you might be rebelling against the good experience, you see? Because when now you are just like, no, you know what I mean? I'm not about that life. But is it good for you? Is the rebelliousness good for you? Is it actually helping you with your money? And as well as I look at it was tough, and then you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna do better. Good, but you also need to do better, knowing that it's not because of the way you grew up. It's because this is who you are. As Lami, as Lorato, this is what I want to do for myself.
And I think that's an important point. What I want to do with money for myself, not what I need someone else's money to do for me. That is a completely different, and that's the mindset that I think that you need to have, whether you're female or male. Because the other thing that I think, this conversation that I was telling you about that's controversial is that the male never thinks, why am I looking for a girl that wants money from me, or why am I always in a relationship with the girls that want money? It's a blueprint thing where it's a control mechanism. You feel that if you're not giving them money, they don't love you enough.
And maybe that's what you've seen.
Yes, and that's what you've seen and what you've grown up with. That the man's element was to be dishing out the money, and the woman is and look, we're in 2020, things have changed, and the minute you understand why you're behaving the way you behave with money, a lot of things start changing.
And then you get to the realization, how can I dissociate myself from the bad habits so
and
that
the
good habits, and then how can I now do things better? So that's a very first point for you to start. Even now, the next episode, Lami, we're going to talk about children. How can you teach your children how to manage money? But it starts with you.
Definitely.
It starts with you. So this
first point of call
is you. So reflect on this episode. If you have any questions, guys, please
write them in the comments.
Write them in the comments, or just DM us. We'll definitely discuss it further on another episode, or possibly just answer your questions. You can even have a questions and answers episode from your questions.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's such a wonderful.
It was fun.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Interesting stuff we came up with.
Yeah. I mean, we did say please reflect on your blueprint. Remember that, and then it can help you better yourself with money, so that you don't become too rebellious or anything. It's you.
Look at yourself.
What do you want? Yeah.
Definitely.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for everything.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.